Hello, welcome to my channel. I wanted to make a quick video today, not only to tell a quick story, but also to see how fast I could turn one of these videos around in my spare time. This is unscripted, shooting from the hip because it was such an incredible experience I wanted to share. Last night, I drove an hour and a half outside of Denver to Guanella Pass. It's near Georgetown, Colorado. I went up to the top of the pass where it was above the tree line so I could get an unfettered view of the Perseids Meteor Shower. It was supposed to be at its peak between 2 a.m. and sun up, and first of all, I had to drag myself out. You know, when I woke up at 1, I was not obviously ready to wake up. I almost convinced myself not to go, but I told myself I would regret it if I didn't. So I went, I packed my bag the night before, and I had everything that I needed to do my photography in here. I brought my X-H2, I brought my X-Pro3, I had my travel tripod, and I decided to bring my other travel tripod, and that turned out to be a really good move because while I was doing time-lapse photography with the X-H2, I ended up taking a couple of photographs with this camera with the Voigtlander 23mm manual lens, and I wasn't expecting much from it, and it turned out to be really good. So where I failed last night, you know, I watched a lot of video on time-lapse, on how to focus and all these things. But what I just simply wasn't prepared for was in that environment, it was so dark that my LCD screen and my EVF on my X-H2 were so bright as to be unusable. Like, it was too much noise in that dark. So I couldn't really figure out if I was getting focus or not. You know, I just kind of pulled the manual focus all the way to infinity and hope for the best. And I think that shows in some of my photography. I do believe I had my interval settings correct. I think that part was okay, but I was a little out of focus. Some other things that were just environmental, a lot of people were up there, people were coming and going in their cars. There was nothing I could do about headlights, taillights. Those were lighting up the scenes in different ways, but they're out of focus, and out of focus doesn't work. I nailed focus with this though. So while I was taking that photograph, I took a photograph with this on the tripod of me doing the time lapse. It wasn't the best photograph, but it was still kind of fun. When I was going back to the car to put this away, I noticed the moon coming up over this ridge away from the meteor shower. And it was just such a cool scene that I ended up putting my X-Pro3 on a tripod. The difference was, with this one, I could see my focus because of the optical viewfinder. So the very thing in my last video about the X-Pro3 turned out to be the thing that really saved the evening. I was able to actually see what my eyes could see because I was looking through the optical viewfinder, but it had some extra information around the frame and everything that I was getting with my focus. Plus I had the little window in the lower right of the window that told me what was in focus. So I could actually get that part of the moon so I could see with the red highlighting that, you know, that part of the moon was in focus. And then 13 seconds turned out to be way too much time on that interval because the moon was quite bright. And what I did was I just kept lowering the shutter speed until I found a shutter speed that I liked. That time lapse was actually in focus. So the OVF really came into play with getting focus in the dark like that. I'm not exactly sure what steps I'm going to take to make the EVF work for me, you know, the LCD and the EVF. I'm sure I should have turned everything down to the minimum when I'm doing astrophotography. But the bigger story here though is the success that I feel from just going out there. The fact that I went out, that I took this bag, that I got in my car, that I went, and I was uncomfortable, it was night, I didn't really want to go when I left, but of course once I'm there and I see the meteor shower and I saw some of the coolest things I've seen, and you know, it was the experience itself that was the best part, and I'm a proponent of that. You're gonna hear that a lot in this channel because that's what changed for me. And when I started to go out every weekend, and then every weekend turned into every other day, and now I'm closer to everyday photography. That's the biggest takeaway from all of this, is I'm not gonna learn how to do astrophotography if I don't go do it. Yeah. I definitely failed a lot last night, and I feel like it was such a huge success. So thank you so much for watching. I hope to see you in the next one. And if you like this, please like it, subscribe. That algorithm loves it. And I will see you in the next one.